Welcome to the Asian Women of Power podcast, where your host, Kimchi Chow, shares tips, tools, insights, and strategies on how you too can create the life you love with freedom, power, and choice. Kimchi will show you how to break free of your cultural boundaries and boldly live the life of your dreams. Please schedule a discovery call with Kimchi from www.asianwomenofpower.com. And now, here's your host, Kimchi Chow.
Welcome to the Asian Women of Power podcast. I'm glad that you are here with us today. In a moment, you will meet our guest panel and get to know them better. I believe you will find their story fascinating and inspiring. So stay tuned. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Asian Women of Power podcast and also Asian Women of Power YouTube channel. We believe that our message and stories are worth to share so that you don't feel that you are alone. This is my way to empowering you and the Asian community to speak up, stand up, and show up powerfully and confidently. So let's get started. First, Andrei, share with us who you are and where you're from and what leads you to do what you do now.
So I'm Andrei, and I'm a Asian country singer in Nashville, Tennessee now. But I was born in Hong Kong and raised there for like 9 years until we moved to the States. And currently, I do what I do to kind of create more jobs for Asian people in the entertainment industry.
Wow, a country singer. Wow, that is so unique. Awesome, awesome. What about you, Vickie?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Kimchi, for having me on today. I really appreciate it. My name is Vickie Gould, and I am a storytelling, marketing, and book coach. So I am a first-generation Taiwanese American. I was born in Canada. My parents immigrated there in the 1960s. And what I do now is I help people to share their stories, bring voices to what their journey has been, so that those stories can then help other people throughout the world.
Thank you. What about you, Annie?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Kimchi, for having me. So my name is Annie, and I'm a love mindset and manifesting coach. I mainly help women become the irresistible version of themselves so that they magnetically attract their soulmate and create a long-lasting relationship. So I realized when I was working at a corporate job that I've always wanted to help people, and love was one of those areas where I've always focused on in my life. So I've had so much experience with it and in that area helping myself and my friends. So I decided, you know what? Why not jump in, take the road, go for it. So since I've done it for myself, I now help others do the same.
Oh, that's awesome. I think after this interview, people will like tap on you and say, "Hey, Annie, I need your help." Right?
Happy to do so.
Yeah. So, Andrei, it's very interesting that that you do what you do, like a country singer and songwriter, and especially Asian. That's how. What leads you to that?
So it's really weird. But about 2010, I listened to a country song for the first time, and I was like, "That's country." So that kind of led me to do like a Google search of country musicians. And I was really into guitar at the time. So what happened was found Brad Paisley, Keith Urban, and I started learning these songs and kind of like the singing and songwriting of it. And then that really resonated with me to start writing myself.
Now I can relate. Yeah, I think when I came here, I listened to the country song. It depends on what country song I was listening. But I think a modern country song is really touching our heart, and the typical. Yeah, I think country song is really speaking the normal way of living and how we experience things, and is it's more truth if we really listen to the words, right? To the lyric of what the songwriter trying to communicate. That's fascinating. And I know that Andre shared with me, he say, I'm going to give you guys a gift. So listen, continue to listen and hang on, okay? We're going to have a treat from Andre today. What about you, Vickie? So what leads you to become a coach, a book coach?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. See, back in 2009, I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, and people are usually surprised because they see me as very energetic. I travel around the world to speak. I've been featured in a lot of things, but they don't realize that back in 2009, when I was diagnosed, I really thought life was over. The doctor turned to me and he basically said, "You know what, Vickie, your body is that of an 80-year-old. Suck it up. You're going to live out the rest of your life this way." And I wasn't even 40 yet. So I remember calling my sister and saying to her, "You know what, you really have to promise me that if Lyme disease takes me, that you have to tell my children what I wanted for them," because I was spending 16 to 18 hours in bed. I couldn't function. I couldn't do things. I felt like a loser mom, loser wife, couldn't show up to things. And my little boy would come to me and he'd say, "Mama, can you go to my school party?" And I just looked down at him and go, "You know what, I really can't. I'm really sorry." And he would climb into bed and just cuddle with me. And I really just felt like there was no good life left. All the things that I told myself to do later, I felt like later wasn't going to come. And I realized at some point that, even though I felt like I wanted my life to end, I really didn't. I had so many things to do and people to see and places to see. And I wanted to see my grandchildren one day and be able to play with them and do stuff. So I started reading these books about people with Crohn's and cancer, and they'd overcome so much. And I thought, why can't I do that too? I did a lot of research. I became a master herbalist. And lo and behold, I also did things that I didn't tell my doctor I tried. The good days started to outnumber the bad. And what I realized through that process is so many people have these stories to share with the world, and they give hope and inspiration, and they let people know that they're not alone. And they let people know that as well, you can defy the odds. You get to define your life. You get to define you. No doctor, nobody else gets to tell us, whether it's your parents who said, "You should do this when you grow up," But from that, I realized so much that our stories matter. Had I not read those stories, I wouldn't have been inspired to get better and search on my own, and I may not be here today. So that's why it's so important now for me to help other people write best-selling books. I've helped 100 others do that. I have 10 of my own, and it just fills my heart to be able to help them share those stories to really create impact and positive change in the world.
Wow, it's really emotional sharing. Thank you, Vickie.
Yeah.
What
You're welcome.
about you, Annie? What led you? I know that you say, you did that. You try it for, to help your friends. Let me see. When I look back, I used to be a matchmaker, a matchmaker, and the way I did that was okay. I check out their birth sign, right? Like the animal sign as well as the animal sign, the birth sign in the Chinese way, to make sure that they are compatible before I introduce them. So that's my old way of doing things. What led you to do what you do?
Yeah, so I noticed that a lot of my friends come to me for relationship advice. They always talk about, their love lives with me, right? So after a while, I'm just like, I've been coaching my friends for free for so long, and they're happy, after I finished coaching them. And it's been happening pretty much my entire life, like even when I was young.
So does it mean that you attract a lot of guys, a lot of, you have a lot of people who want to date you?
I don't know how to answer that. Humbly said, I've been pursued.
That's good, because sometimes people are born with that kind of insight before they have their own experience. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, what were the biggest challenge that you have faced and overcame in your life?
That's a really difficult question, but I would say so far in my career, which is, a big part of my life, the biggest thing has been being an Asian person in a genre that doesn't have any Asian people. And that's kind of been the biggest challenge, because it's like, how can you overcome people seeing other races doing country music, other than just white? So kind of what I've had to do is make my shows more interesting, write songs that are above the standard of like what a country song should be. So people are like, oh, Asian people can do country music, instead of, oh, this is why Asian people don't do country music, because they can't. So I think it's been really interesting to create an experience and a show that people can really enjoy and see that other people can kind of do anything.
So you share, I know that you share that that you are adopted, right?
Yes.
But so you don't live in a typical Asian family. So I'm not quite sure you have the same experience as the family as Asian people. As us who has Asian parents and who have to follow certain standard. Do you have anything like that?
Where I do have to follow a certain standard, I think it's always been something where I have had to have my certain standards, and my parents were still strict on different curricular activities that I did, but they were always very supportive of what I was doing at the time.
All right, thank you. Vicky?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm older than the other guests on this panel. So I might have a few extra struggles in there through life. I already talked about my Lyme disease, but what comes up for me is when I left my home. So I actually left home my senior year of high school when I was 17. And that was a hard time, but it also was an exciting time for my life. I finished out high school. I got accepted to University of Michigan and came up here for school. But I really had to grow up. I really had to find out, how do you even get in car insurance on your own when I was 17, because everything now was up to me. And I remember at that time I got this apartment. It had no furniture. A friend of mine gave me a mattress and we put it on the floor. I ate dinner on the carpet like a picnic every night because I just didn't have anything. And I think that time, although it was hard financially, it really helped me to grow and to learn so much about, really being able to take care of yourself and saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to survive and I'm going to make this work.
Wow, perseverance.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Annie?
Yeah, so probably my biggest challenge was overcoming my anxiety. So a couple of years ago when I was dating this guy and he was just kind of stringing me along, not really telling me the whole story and basically lying to me and making me feel like I was the crazy one, right? Even though I totally suspected like things were happening. So I was extremely anxious whenever he didn't text me back or whenever I see his post on social media. My whole inner world was just like in turmoil. It was just going crazy. And so I couldn't sleep because my mind was racing all the time, all night. And it was affecting me health-wise, mentally, emotionally. It was gotten to a point where I just couldn't really live my life. But now I feel so much more peaceful, more than ever. So maybe like a couple of weeks ago, a monk actually came up to me and was like, there's a lot of inner peace within you. And that's a huge compliment for a monk.
Wow, that's a big transformation, right? And we can always tell somebody by just the way they look, right? If the person who has total peace versus the person who has a lot of chaotic inside, right? I can tell by
Yeah.
just looking at them, the way that they show up. So that's wonderful. Thank you and congratulations, Annie.
Thank you.
So, what do you know now that you wish you knew 5 or 10 years ago? For Vicky, would be 10 years. For Andre and Ani, maybe 3 to 5 years.
So I think acceptance. That's something that's taken me, within the 5 or 10 years of like who I am and what I do. It took so much time because for the longest time, actually, I was contemplating like plastic surgery to not look Asian because that might help in the entertainment industry. If you look less Asian, you might be accepted more. But kind of what I wish I knew back then was you're fine, no matter how you look or who you are or what you believe in, and to accept that of yourself, to share it with others.
Wow, I'm glad that you did not do that. Because if you change how you look, you will be a typical country singer. There's nothing unique about you. But I think so. What I would recommend is to embrace who you are and how you look, because that's make you unique. I see myself as, oh, I'm not perfect here. My eyes too small, my nose too short, and I have crooked teeth, whatever, right? But what makes me unique is the whole thing, the whole package here. Either you like me or you don't. It's on including my personality too. Right? So be who you are, be who you are, be unique, because you are the only one in this world. So I don't buy into the cosmetic things, because that industry is booming, and especially in Korea. So I it's a choice, it's a personal choice. But I think there's certain things that we can benefit from cosmetic surgery. um, but there's certain things that when we abusing it, it's not helpful for us, and it in fact it show our insecurity. The more people try to fix the inner world, the way they look, or the thing they wear, or the material things, the more it shows that they are not confident about who they are. They have lack of security in security and confidence. So I'm glad you are who you are. You are handsome as ever, Andre, you're welcome. All right, Vicky.
Well, boy, Andre reminds me of when my mom growing up, she would pinch my nose to try to give me a bridge. She would say, you guys are lucky because somewhere in our heritage, we actually had eyelids. So, the creases in the eyelids. But she would always want dimples, and she'd pinch my cheeks and stuff like that. And, I think so often we forget that we are made unique and that we are beautiful no matter what we look like. So thanks, Andre, for sharing that. So for me, I would say 10 years ago to myself, I would have said, you know what, Vicky, stop putting yourself last. I think women so often have this idea that, we're going to be martyrs and we're going to constantly put everybody before ourselves, and we're going to go last. We're the lowest person on the totem pole. I watched my mom do that growing up. She always put us kids first. She never did anything nice for herself until we were all grown. And I started doing the same thing. My friends came before me. I would rearrange my schedule all the time. I was considered superwoman, supermom, before I got sick. And then when I got sick, I was like, wait, what if I never have the chance to do those things that I told myself I was going to do? And I really had to flip my mindset about thinking that's selfish. We're taught that that's selfish. You got to put everybody else first, but you can't do anything for everybody else if you're drawn from a dry well. You have to take care of yourself, and wanting to do things is not bad. It's actually good for you. And we should definitely say more often yes to ourselves. And so as time has gone on, that has been a little bit more of my motto, in that I look at things and I go, you know what? Am I going to regret not doing this now? Am I going to regret later on pushing it off, let's say yes more often to me, because I've said yes to enough people in my life.
I totally agree with you, Vickie. I had that revelation, I think, when I was in my 50s.
I'm
Yeah,
almost 50.
yeah, in my 50s, I start to see things and say, wait a minute, wait a minute. Is in we heard that, and I have constantly my siblings keep telling me, Kimchi, you selfish, blah blah blah, because why don't you show up in the family gathering and blah blah blah. I say, because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't want to go, and I have other
Yeah.
reasons I don't want to, but
Right.
in the past I would go along with what I'm obligated to, because I feel that, okay, if I don't go, I will ruin the party. If I don't show up, I will ruin the party and people will
Yeah.
missing me later on. I think in my, I would say starting in my 50s and maybe stronger in in the mid 50, and I say, nope, this is my stand. I have to live for myself and put myself first, right? So
That's right.
it was
I think
so strong.
so often women, Asian women especially, I should say Asian men probably as well too, we have a very high sense of duty. We have a very high sense of family, and, don't shame and don't, whatever. But, no is a complete sentence. We don't really have to give a reason all the time, even though a lot of times we feel compelled to justify why we made a decision. You don't have to justify. It can just purely be because I don't want to, I don't feel like it, I don't like it, whatever.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ani?
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing that. It's very powerful. I can totally relate to that. So I think what I wish I knew maybe 3-5 years ago is don't take anything personally. Just have fun, really enjoy everything, because when you're in the situation, you have such a narrow view. You think, oh my God, like the world's going to end. But really, like a couple years down the road, you see the whole big picture and you're like, wow, everything actually worked out the way it's supposed to. But when you're in the moment, it's really hard to see that. So for me, it's don't take anything personally, have fun, enjoy the journey. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Wonderful, wonderful. I enjoy it so much from your lesson so far. And I know that our listener and our viewer will benefit from your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your personal motto? Like your personal quote or your personal mantra? Explain to us why it is so important to you.
So kind of from the last question too, my motto would be like, I believe that no matter what background we have, we're the only ones who get to decide who we are. And that's been really important for me, and just sharing that with other people, because I think a lot of people are expected to do things just because of the way they look, or expected to be in a certain career, or expected to, do certain things that they aren't supposed to be.
That's a beautiful, beautiful motto, and it's so liberating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vickie?
Yeah, so a lot of things come up for me. I think my motto really right now is jump before you look. It actually is the title I want for my next book.
That is so contradicting. Say, what do you mean? When I walk, I need to look it down, make sure I don't, walk on the ditch because it can hurt me. So tell us, why do you say that? Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, growing up, my mom would always be like, oh, you got to think about it. Quit thinking you can do all these things. You can't do that. And, when we're young, we have huge dreams, right? We think we can be Superman. We think we can jump off the roof, right? How many kids have broken their arms because they thought they could fly? You see the little kids in the grocery store with Superman costumes and whatever. You would never tell a little kid, you can't do that. But somewhere along the line, as we got older and older, well-meaning friends, family, parents, teachers said, you need to not be so risky. Stop thinking about that. I wanted to go to art school. My mom said, no, you're going to be a starving artist. You can't do that. You're not going to do it. So I did the good Asian thing and I got a mathematics degree. I got an actuarial mathematics degree, but every part of me, every time I had a job, I also had a side hustle because I needed to be in the arts. I did jewelry, I did soap making, I did cards, I did cakes, I did everything because I needed that part. Like it was cutting off part of my body not to have that. But it was too risky to do that. And the funny thing is I worked for Comerica Bank as a statistician, mitigating risk for them. So like all my life, all I did was mitigate risk. And eventually, I just said, you know what? Obviously, I'm not being fulfilled this way. And sometimes when people tell you, oh, you got to really think about the whole entire thing before you go do whatever it is, the entrepreneur thing you want to do. I'm like, no, I've heard so many people tell me that ignorance was bliss when they became entrepreneurs, because had they known everything that they know now, they might not have done it. So sometimes it's a lot better to jump before you look, because the other side is actually a lot better than you might imagine up in your head.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah, for sure.
But I still can look, right? I still can look where I walk.
Definitely don't trip and don't fall in a hole.
Right, that's right. Ani?
Yeah, so my motto is whatever you think about yourself, you are right. So why not find a more empowering story to tell? So oftentimes we get so caught up in our own negative thinking and our own negative stories, but it all comes from us. We're the ones that are making things up in our own mind. Our mind is so powerful. So once we're able to kind of shift that from negative to something that's benefiting us, a lot can change. Our perspective starts to change. And we're like, you know what? Like maybe everything's okay. So even our mood starts to change.
That's very, very appropriate, and I follow that too. Yes, it's you live based on your story, right? The story you are giving. Vickie can relate to that. Ani, yeah, you know that, and Andrei, you probably know that too, right? It's your own story that you are creating, right? So, what is your proudest moment?
I think proudest moment at the moment is being able to do over 100 shows this year across the country and really be like, oh, this is like an actual thing and this is a career. This is something that's real and this is happening right now.
What do you mean by show? Is that like you own the whole show, or you show up to do a gig?
I own the whole show. So I've done 7 so far this year, and I'm doing 1 a month in Nashville to not oversaturate the population here. But going to different states and playing with my guitar, sometimes with my band and other musicians.
Wow, that's awesome. So share it on the Asian Hustler Network, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you'll get connecting to California, and let us know how we can support you. I will show up in Northern California to meet you in person and listen to you. Okay. Congratulations, Andrei. 100 show for this year. That's your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's wonderful goals. Vickie?
I think there are a lot of things in life that I've been have proud moments, been happy about, but I would say now that my kids are older, my daughter's 23, my son's 19, my other son is 16, I think what I'm most proud of is that they actually talk to me. I didn't have the best, relationship with my own mother. And I really did not want the same thing to happen growing up, raising my children. My daughter now lives in California and I live in Michigan, and pretty much we talk to each other every day. My 19-year-old is in Michigan. Obviously the 16-year-old is here too, but I think I'm most proud that she wants to hang out with me. She wants to talk to me. She asks me for my advice. Sometimes she doesn't take it, but she does ask me. And even likes to show me off to her friends. So I'm going to be in California the first week of March. And she's like, yeah, I want to come out to see you. We'll drive out to see you, but a couple of my friends want to come too because they miss you too. So that I think makes me the most proud.
Yeah, congratulations. And that I think that's I think most women, I would say most women, most mother, they look at that, they consider that is their accomplishment, right? Is that they have created a relationship with their children who loves and adores them, and vice versa. That is the most valuable gift that you can have, as a parent can have, right?
Right. And you never know how it's going to turn out along the way.
Right. Congratulations, Vickie.
Thank you.
Ani?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's the bravery and the courage to do something that no one else has done, around me has done before. So it's me starting an online business. So I don't know anyone right now. I don't know anyone who's doing it around me in my immediate circle. So I had to find other people throughout the internet to really look up to them, find them mentors. So it's that bravery of, you know what, like, I don't know anyone that has done this. This is totally different from what everyone else does around me. You know, I'm not going to be a doctor or work a corporate job. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something that's true to me. So it's that, like, I'm just gonna, as Vickie says, I'm just gonna jump.
Yeah, congratulations. It's all things happen when you make a decision, and the decision has to be clear and powerful, right? That's awesome. So share with us your 3 things that you suggest others to do or begin if they want to follow your footsteps.
I would say 3 things are acceptance. I think that comes first. You need to have number 2 is like discipline, which if you own a business, you have to be very disciplined in the time you put into it, because if you don't work hard on it, nothing will happen. And 3 is I think would be kind of respect and support others in everything that they do. I think too often we see people trying to like claw their way to the top, and they don't care about anybody else. And especially I think that happens in music. But if you can respect and support other people, they're going to do the same for you, most likely.
Great suggestions. Thank you, Andrei. Vickie?
I would say find something that you can really be passionate and love and want to do all the time. Like, my business is constantly on my mind because I love it so much. And you gotta number 1, jump before you look. Do it before you're ready. Don't wait until you feel ready, because that's never going to happen. Number 2 is to give it enough time. There's statistics that show that businesses go under within those first 3 years. And a lot of time it's just plain having the persistence to go past those 3 years that makes you successful. Because it's so easy to look around and go, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, and I'm not doing well enough. But if you just look at things from a longevity standpoint, you'll get there. And then thirdly, don't compare yourself to others, because you are unique in your own way. And when you show up to whatever you're doing as you uniquely, you're going to see all sorts of different opinions, and people's opinions of you are really none of your business. You just go out there and do you, and your business actually will be more successful if you're weird or quirky or a little strange or whatever, because that makes you unique and that will attract people to you. It will definitely, repel people, but hey, that's good marketing when you repel people.
Absolutely. Yeah, we cannot please everybody, right? We can only please certain people who resonate or who has the same frequency as us, right? Thinking the same, with the same similar mentality and philosophy in life. So that's how we attract.
That's right.
Ani?
Yeah, so the first thing would be to follow what gives you the most joy. Just follow your passion, and just because it's so important to be happy in life. And when you're not happy, you don't really feel like doing anything. So follow the thing that gives you joy. And the second thing is work on believing in yourself, because if you don't believe that you can do it, you're just going to quit. You're not going to do it at all. So before you do anything, really just believe in yourself. Work on that first. And once you address that, you're going to go ahead. You're not going to stand in your own way. And the third thing is build a support system around you, someone that can uplift you. It can be your partner or your family or your friends. But when you have that support system, you're able to go ahead and just dive in and persevere, really. Because when you don't have that, you kind of get down on yourself and then you just stop, you quit.
Yeah, I would add to your third one, build a support system, because sometimes your surrounding, let's say your friends or your family members, they don't really support your goals and dreams. So the battle one, if you cannot find that kind of support, if your family members or your friends that you hang out with don't believe in your dreams, then seek out to a coach, right? So somebody who can really support you and guide you, somebody who has walked the path that you want to walk, and learn from them. So look for the mentor or coach to follow and get the support from there. Thank you. All right. So are you ready? Andrei today, he gonna share with us the gift. So tell us what you're gonna share with us, Andrei.
So I'm going to sing a little bit of the song called Supposed To, which I wrote with two other Asian people in Nashville, Tennessee, actually. So we're the only three Asians that write country music down here, apparently.
That's awesome. Supposed to.
It's called Supposed To.
Supposed to is the title.
Yeah, it's all about, not being or not doing what you're supposed to do, essentially.
All right.
What you look.
So would you share with the listener and the audience the co-author of this song, so that we can acknowledge them?
There's Dawei Lee and there's Ian DePriest.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Go for it.
Don't be surprised if the way I speak's a little different than the way I look. It happens all the time, and I see it in your eyes. You think you know me, but you're misunderstood. Maybe I can change the world. It doesn't matter what I'm told, 'cause it starts with one heart at a time. I don't wanna be the person you see, 'cause I'm more than the role played on your TV. I've been led to believe this is all I could be, than what I am supposed to, what I'm supposed to. So that's just the little bit of it.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you. That's I resonate with the lyric. It's similar to what you have been sharing, the challenges that you have been sharing, and congratulations for finding a fellow songwriter who came from Asia, who are Asian, to support you with that. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So how, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to contact you, Andrei?
So I think on social media is probably the best way. I'm the Andrei Music on all social media platforms, and that's and then Andrei spelled ANDREI, and then music, and you can find me anywhere.
Thank you. What about you, Vickie?
Yeah, basically you could type in my name in Google and I'll come up in all sorts of places. You just got to spell it right. It's Vickie and Gould. That's the same as my website, my Facebook, my Insta, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, which I'm not really on very much, but if you just type that in, you'll find me.
Thank you. Ani?
Yeah, so I have a free gift for your listeners. So you can get my Single to Loving Relationship with Your Soulmate guide. So it's 9 steps and tools and techniques to help you manifest your soulmate for free, of course. And it's at www.aniwey.com/soulmate. And you can also check me out on Instagram at instagram.com/ANI_WEYS.
Wow, that's wonderful. For those single listening up, follow Annie. All right. And I appreciate you all so much. And I really, you really inspire me and inspire other Asians out there to follow our dreams. I appreciate you and best wishes for your future and whatever you're doing in the future. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
That's it for today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please share with your friends, family members, and also on social media. Please use hashtag Asian Women of Power. Until next time, live life loud.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Asian Women of Power podcast. We encourage you to apply what you've learned here today to make your life a little bit better every day. For more tips, tools, practical ideas, and conversations around a business, life, and relationships so that you too can live life loud, we invite you to join the Asian Women of Power Facebook group at www.joinasianwomenofpower.com.